Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are here to talk about what is soon to be one of Wuthering Waves' biggest issues, and that is going to be Chisa and Chisa in Endstate Matrix. The game mode has just reset over in Southeast Asia. I'm playing it on a viewer's account, and there's a pretty rough discovery that most of you guys are going to have if you've been building out some of the negative status teams in this game. I'm thinking teams like Imith, Denia, Chisa, Hiyuki, Lene, Chisa, Chikona, Kartithia, Chisa. If you're thinking about teams like those, you might be in for a rough awakening, because guess what? Chisa, in this endgame mode, she only has one energy. You can only use her in one of the very, very many fights that you have ready to go in Singularity Expansion. You can already see over here, I'm at already 6 teams that have fought, with the 7th coming soon, and I used Chisa for this 6th fight. Most other supports in the game have a bit of an interesting thing going on. You can actually use them twice. You can go ahead and look over here. I used a Verita once over here. I used Arrow Rover over here, a Mordier once over here, and a Shorekeeper once over here. And guess what happens when I try to go ahead and use them again? I'm good. I've got no issues at all. I could even run a team of 3 healers if I wanted, but that would just be griefing. But for Chisa, if after you use her a single time, you don't get to use her again. And this is a major issue in this update for one particular reason. Chisa, by the time Denia releases, is going to have 3 fucking teams. One team with Kartithia, one team with Imith, and then another team with Hiyuki. Sharing one Chisa across these 3 teams is a ridiculous endeavor. Even more ridiculous when you consider the fact that Arrow Rover, which is the only other alternative for Chisa in just one of the teams, Arrow Rover only has one use case as well. Or they only have one energy too. And that's for all 3 versions of Rover combined. They all have one energy each. So you can kind of see what's going on over here. Negative status teams are literally going to be unplayable. Literally pretty much unfucking playable by the time Denia releases. They're low-key unplayable right now. Because if you run your Arrow Rover, Chikota, Kartithia team, and then your Chisa, Lene, Hiyuki team, well, guess what your fucking Zani, Phoebe, Rover team needs to do? Take out Rover and I guess put in Shorekeeper or Verita instead. But then what if your Shorekeeper and Verita are busy with like the 30 other teams that they have? Then I guess you're just not playing them. I don't think we've ever seen like a situation before where the usage restriction makes so little fucking sense. Because what the hell are you supposed to do with Denia when she comes out? I don't think Kuro really thought ahead with this one. But you would have thought that after they introduced 2 new negative status teams in version 3.3, they would have done Chisa the justice over here of actually allowing her to be used more than once in the game mode, like all of the other supports in the fucking game. But you cannot. And the unfortunate thing is that this is greatly diminishing Chisa's value as a limited support. A selling point behind some of the support characters is the fact that they're able to be used twice in Endstate Matrix. That's just something that we established. That's just something that's there in the game. Chisa is literally worth less for the team comp that she fills, for the team spot that she fills out, than every other limited support in the game. She's literally a less valuable character. Because when you pull Shorekeeper or you pull Mordier, you get to support 2 teams with them. And Chisa only gets 1. There's no other game mode where we have the restrictions like this, ladies and gentlemen. Check all the other game modes. Go into Whimpering Wastes. Awesome, bro. You can only use, you've only been able to use 3 characters on each side since the start of time. And the characters that you use in the previous floors, right? You're free to use them again. Everyone has the same restrictions in Whimpering Wastes. And then the TOA, right? Every single character ends up having 10 energy. With some of the stages costing 5, some of the stages costing 4, you're able to use basically every single character in up to 2 spots. Chisa is the anchor of a team, much like how Shorekeeper and Mordier are anchors of teams as well. If you don't have like a support, you don't have a sustain, oftentimes you don't even think of it as a viable fucking team in the first place. And do you know what the issue is with Chisa only having 1 energy? All it does is it makes all negative status units less appealing to pull. Think about it this way. Why would you pull Denia now? Or why would you even pull Hiyuki now, knowing that Chisa only has 1 use in Endstate Matrix? Isn't it just inherently more valuable to go pull a Mornier or to go pull a support that has 2 uses and then build teams around that archetype? It's better, way better, to build Toon Break teams with Mornier as the center, right? You can take her Mono Fusion, then go take her Toon Break, and you got 2 uses out of her. Chisa, great. You invested in Cart, you invested in Denia, you invested in Hiyuki, and out of those 3 teams, you can only play 1 of them. This, to me, just does not make any sense at all. And it's one of the most short-sighted things ever, with Chisa's banner coming up and Hiyuki's banner live right now. I am hoping that there's like some sort of update or there's like some sort of like statement or some sort of acknowledgement from Kuro Games that they're going to go ahead and increase her number of uses. And if this doesn't actually occur by the time that her banner drops, I'm going to be honest, guys. All negative status teams as a whole should just be rated down in terms of account value. They are inherently going to be worth less than every other team in the game. Because what the fuck are you going to use Hiyuki for if you don't have Chisa on the team? Oh, go ahead, use her with like a Mornier and stuff like that? Great. Mornier is better off with characters like Luke or better off with characters like Amith that can actually apply Toon statuses. So your Mornier is busy there or she's working in Mono Fusion. And so who is your Hiyuki going to use if you don't have Mornier available because she's with better teams and you don't have Chisa available because you used her with another team? Just one other one. Gonna be working with the Shorekeeper Jeja team or stuff like that and some shit like that? Bro, what about the Electro Flare team that comes out? Because remember, Chisa increases the stack limit of every negative status. We've already covered Spectro Frazzle, Fusion Burst and Glacio Chafe, and Aero Erosion. What about Electro Flare and then maybe the Havoc Bane DPS? Are we gonna get another negative status buffer? Or is Chisa just gonna get more uses? What the fuck is even going on here? Because how do you kind of like maintain this as the future of a character when she's tied to 3 of the most meta teams in the game at the moment? It's not a matter of Chisa having 3 energy. I think she needs 2. But imagine once all of these other negative status archetypes come out, and then now Chisa has 4 teams that she's best in slot in, but then still only has 1 fucking energy. We'll probably maybe get another negative status healer in the future. But that's in the fucking future. Because right now, it's still a major fucking issue. Even if you don't have Cardathea and you don't have Chakota or Arrow Rover supporting them, you won't be able to play Denia Fusion Burst, and you also won't be able to play Hiyuki Fusion Burst. Or, sorry, Hiyuki Glacio Chafe. But guess what? It's not like Hiyuki really has better supports to work with, so she's kind of glued to Chisa at the moment. And so what's happening with your Denia then? Is she just getting fucked over because of how this stuff is turning out? Probably. This is something that needs to be fixed immediately. And honestly, this is something that should be fixed before Hiyuki's banner disappears. And some could say that this is like a 5-head, 300 IQ play to get people to pull on Mornier. Because guess who has 2 uses, and guess who's technically Hiyuki's second best in slot support? Mornier, when you use her with Lene in the Rupture team. So maybe that's the ploy that's happening over here. It's evil Kuro Games. And honestly, if Chisa gets 2 uses after these banners disappear, then yeah, maybe we could actually say this is evil Kuro Games. But is there a point in griefing a unit like Chisa when there's kind of like no reason to in the current state of the game? I don't actually think so, but that is what's going on right now. I think it's a bit of an ass move. And so I'm just hoping eventually, right, that we get an update on this sometime soon. Maybe some apologems as well, because while people might not be giga pissed about it right now because they can just use Arrow Rover with Cardathea, by the time Denia rolls around, it's not going to be the same case at all. So better to raise the issue here up front rather than later when nobody has a Chisa to use. That's gonna be my personal take. Feel free to disagree with it, but if you do disagree with it, you're just outright fucking wrong.